We've walked through sunshine, we stood in rain. We've danced in joy and we've wept through pain. Through every valley, through every climb, a love eternal stands the test of time. Faith and forever love, built on grace sent from above. Through storms that shake, through skies that clear, His hand has held us year by year.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen?
What's up?
Good to see y'all. Good to be back. This is Marriage Encounters, Marriage Monday, and we're glad that you're a part of our family, part of this happily ever after family, and we're hoping that everything is going well. Hopefully over the weekend you had a lot of fun practicing making babies, and now we're back on Monday.
No. No, we are not. We're not.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what I said. Absolutely nothing wrong. Y'all agree? Absolutely nothing wrong.
Okay. Anyway, it's week 3.
It is week 3.
And y'all can see over here, we're talking about intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1, we talked about being reconnected. Week 2, we talked about the pursuit. We got to stay in pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot just continue to move forward without reconnecting, staying connected, having those connectivity points, but also making sure that we continue in the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm. In the pursuit of marriage, in the pursuit of happiness. And on today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about, we're talking about intimacy. At the end of the day.
What was the wow about that?
Well, it's wow. Intimacy is wow. That's the wow factor. We're talking about intimacy. Into me.
You see.
Right.
Do you see inside of me, though?
About all that. But I can understand the into me piece of it. I can understand that. I can relate to that. All right. That's where we are today. Intimacy. This is going to be rough. But hopefully y'all can get through it. Well, I mean, because people's ideas of intimacy is different.
We're going to talk about that. So let's be honest. Okay. Many couples share a house, share responsibilities, share bills, but they do not share their hearts. So intimacy, if you are seeing inside of me, then part of me is that you see my heart. You see who I am. You see what really makes me tick. You see the things that make me excited. You see my why. And you sharing those things with me. I can tell this is gonna be rough because you're gonna be silly.
Okay, and I agree with all of that. I just don't feel like that's the male version of intimacy at all. I mean,
well, that's not the 1964 version of intimacy.
I just don't think that's the male version. Maybe in some pieces, but not 100%. And I think that's where the how can I say it, the break off happens, or where the split happens, because there's two different mindsets, you're double-minded. And the Bible says a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways.
That's only if you're double-minded with yourself.
No. But what I'm talking about in this regard, if there's two different thought processes of what intimacy is, then either I'm going to be off, you're going to be off, or we got to figure out how to meet somewhere in the middle and understand what intimacy means to and for both of us.
Okay.
Right? Because if it means something different to me than what it means to you, then you might be thinking, and I'm not talking about you, but you might be thinking you're having this wonderful intimate moment, and I'm just sitting there talking, okay, you got your head on my shoulder. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so I think that then intimacy needs to be defined as to what it means for the woman and what it means for the man. And then perhaps we need to happily meet in the middle. But I think that, and I think most couples deal with this. I don't think that we are off concerning this. I think most couples deal with what intimacy means, because it can be so different.
Because most men think intimacy is having sex, when there are way more things that happen before you get to the point of having sex.
That's true. But most men also would probably believe that intimacy is a segue into an intimate encounter. Right?
Right. But if intimacy and conjugal privileges are not ultimately the same, so they all swim in the same water,
Mm-hmm.
but they may not necessarily be the same fish.
I agree in part. I don't even think it should even be in a marriage. I don't even think it should be even called conjugal.
I just was
privileges.
saying that because we're on the whole interweb.
Okay. All right.
So I'm trying not to get us kicked off.
That's why I said practicing making babies. They
Right,
can't argue that.
But
at
I
all.
don't want to make no babies.
Right. I said practice. I didn't say make none. I said
Don't want to make
practice.
any babies.
Okay. There's a difference between making and practicing. Okay. But so people think what a lot of intimacy starts in the bedroom, but actually intimacy can start long before that. It might lead to the bedroom, maybe, but it can start before that. But I'm gonna go back to what I've been saying is both couples need to have an understanding of what intimacy
Both
means
people
to them.
within the couple. Yeah, but I mean, so then when you think about intimacy, so what makes you feel intimate or what makes you feel connected? I think is a better word. When we think about intimacy, it's about connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so what makes you feel connected? Do I trust this person? Do I is there a way that you make me feel? Do you make me feel emotionally safe? Do you make me feel what are the things that bring us together? Are we on the same page? Are we moving in the same direction? All of those things are a part of how do I get to this place where I'm connected to this person so much so that I want to go to the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the things that you have to really figure out, because real intimacy is when I can bring the real me, the real emotion, the real spaces to our conversation and know that they're going to be held safely. I think you talk about all the time, if a man shows you vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
and his emotion, if you don't handle it correctly, then he's never going to show you that again. That's part of that intimacy. Does my spouse feel connected enough to me that they feel safe? Okay, so case in point, you had a traumatic situation when you were a kid, and when we very first got married, you, like, if I put my hand here, you would have been freaking out. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't like things around your neck because someone tried to choke you. But over time, I can rub your neck and it doesn't bother you. Mm-hmm. When we first got married, if I would have done that, you'd have been like, oh, no, get back. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. But over time and with connection, you feel safe enough that that's not an issue.
Well, yeah, I feel safe enough, and maybe in some ways I got past it, I got over it, but
maybe
I mean I agree with that, but sometimes if you feel unsafe, let me say it like that, if you feel unsafe or that this person can't be trusted, then probably you'll withhold showing your true self. Most couples, when you're in a dating game, that rascal you see ain't the real person.
Oh, absolutely.
She ain't the real person. All right. They are the version that they think you like.
Yeah.
All right. But then after you get married and the gloves come off, then you see the real person. And that's the real person that you got to learn to love. Right. And so I don't, and that's just the way relationships are. I don't think that you're ever going to show the real you right in the beginning. Right. But over time, the real you pops out. And that's when that spouse can begin to learn to trust and feel safe and secure with the person that you really are, not the person that you were when y'all were dating.
Yeah. And I think that's where we start to look at, can I share what I think? Can I share, truth without there being repercussions, without there being, this a comparison, without there to be, all of those things that we have. I think, when we come home, this needs to be our safe space. So in the world, there's microaggressions, there's all kinds of things that are happening. There's racial tension, there's, misogyny, there's all these things that happen in the world outside of your house. But when you come into this space and we walk inside the doors of our house, then there should be this space in which we should be able to take down, should be able to, if you have a wig, you should be able to take it off. I don't have one, but if you have one, you should be able to take it off. You should be able to, take your tennies off and unlace your Louboutins and just be able to relax. Let your feet flap, let your, whatever. Why? Because if I'm at a place where we are comfortable, where we are seeing eye to eye, where we are feeling connected, then I can, and I think Bishop Jakes put it this way, and maybe it was Sarita, I can be naked and unafraid.
That was Jakes, yeah. So then let me ask you this question then. So then should intimacy be forced or intentional, or should it happen just organically?
Well, I think intimacy ultimately is happening organically because you are setting an atmosphere that allows for both of y'all to feel comfortable in that space.
Right. So we hit a few key words there, and one of the key words was y'all. It's in the two of y'all are setting the atmosphere. One atmosphere, two people involved in creating that atmosphere, which means that I go back to my point, both of you have to have an understanding of what intimacy means for the other person.
Well, and I think for y'all, because I think it's kind of like holiday traditions or anything else. What works for us, finances, what works for our marriage may not necessarily be the same thing for somebody else's marriage. So I think ultimately intimacy is something that y'all have to figure out. What is your rhythm? What is your, I was preaching yesterday, and one of the things that I brought up was, what is your daily rhythm? What is, what is your practice, your spiritual practice? What is your spiritual daily rhythm? We were talking about the children of Israel, and how they had to have a daily rhythm because God was dropping manna. And their daily rhythm had to be that they had to go get that manna, but they had to eat it all that day. Well, there's some same things that have to happen in our marriage. What is your rhythm? We choose to pray. We choose to pray for each other every morning. That is our rhythm. We wake up, we're doing those things. We, have our times when we sit down and look at our schedules and do that. So what is the rhythm of your marriage? Because what happens is we can be so scheduled and so busy that we don't have a rhythm for our marriage.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So in that case, then the rhythm of your marriage should include opportunities for intimacy. And I think that, I'm just talking about my opinions, all right? But I think that intimacy that is agreed upon, I think it's okay to lead to an intimate encounter later on without it being a problem.
And I don't say that it should be a problem. I'm just saying that but that shouldn't always be the expectation. I think that's the issue. It's not that it's a problem. It's not that you shouldn't, and that you shouldn't. At the end of the day, there should be some exchange for both people, because that's part of a healthy marriage. But it doesn't mean that it should always.
Right. But then you have some people who then say, well, I want you to do all this, but we're never going to actually be physically intimate because I want to prove that it doesn't have to be that way all the time.
Are you talking about in marriage, or are you talking about in dating?
Because no. I'm always talking about in marriage, because dating don't count if you follow in the Bible, the biblical way.
Well, yeah, because you shouldn't be doing anything before you're married.
So I'm talking about marriage. You shouldn't be fornicating.
Fornicating.
All right. but I think that this intimacy thing is something that really, I mean, I think there needs to
Maybe
be.
we should do a whole master class.
Well, we should, but I mean,
not just us.
no, bring people in, because I think the
Hey,
problem
what do y'all
is
think?
yeah.
Shoot me some messages down below. What do y'all think? Should
on
we
intimacy.
host? We're not the experts, but should we have a conversation around what does intimacy look
Right,
like, and what
right,
does intimacy look like in the? Should we do a master class about that? Let us know.
I'm telling you, because I think that there, from male to female, there are radically different opinions.
And I think it's becoming
That's where the
even
trouble
more
is.
radically different opinions with different generations, because there's more of this conversation happen. But I think, the honest thing is your relationship and your level of intimacy and the things that you can do and the things that excite you or don't excite you at
Is for you.
25 and
Yeah.
55 are definitely not the same.
No, they ain't the same. They
I
ain't the
mean,
same.
your body don't function the same
so
way.
intimacy changes. Let me say it like this: the dynamics of intimacy change over time. The level of intimacy in a healthy couple should continuously grow.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Well, because you see those older people. So there are people that have been married
Mhm.
75, 80 years, and they still, like,
Googly eyed at
yeah,
one another, and
exactly.
they both walking with walkers.
well, maybe not that, but
right.
I mean, definitely have, still have a spark and
Right,
still have a,
right.
like, girl, I'm madly in love with you.
So then we have to help people focus on building a healthy, intimate relationship where both the husband and the wife can win.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, because if intimacy in my mind or in your mind is only one-sided, then I don't want to say that's not winning for me, but that's definitely not winning for us.
Yeah.
Because somebody is leaving the equation empty or not
satisfied.
fulfilled or not satisfied.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then every couple needs to know what their level of intimacy is and what it really means to them, individually and collectively.
Mm-hmm.
So that whenever we have an intimate encounter, we both, regardless of how it ends up and turns out, we both can leave feeling fulfilled. Let me say it like that.
So if we go back to 5 love languages, our love tank is full.
Correct.
And whatever that looks like.
Correct.
But then I think that goes back to, again, of having the conversation of who do I know you? Do I know you well enough to fill your love tank?
That's a good point.
I mean, so I've got to know who you are, what you like, why the quirks that you have, the things that, make you who you are. I have to truly understand that stuff in order to be able to fill your love tank.
But let me take it a step further. It's not enough just saying, do I know it? The question becomes, am I willing to do what it takes? Because I can know something and not want to do it.
True.
Y'all know that's true. So it's not so much, do I know it? That's critical too. But am I willing to put forth the effort?
To fill your tank.
To fill your tank. My wife likes hugs, and I purposed in my mind. I didn't even want to tell her this, but I purposed in my mind every morning before I leave to give her a big old hug, and when I come home at night to give her a big hug, because she likes hugs. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
now,
it's scientifically proven that that you need a certain amount of hugs a day in order to live. It's called being a human being.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't care about nothing about
it's
that.
True.
But I was thinking that, but then
Let me
the
see.
hug.
Let me tell you how many
You
it
ain't
is.
got
Keep
to
going.
Google it,
I'm
girl.
going to.
But for me, the hug, me giving my wife a hug because she enjoys hugs, is me helping to fulfill her love tank. Does it do anything for me?
Oh, that's not true.
I mean,
because
no,
there's sometimes
but in all seriousness, does it do as much for me as it does for her? Probably not. But am I willing to do it? Yes, because it does something for her. That's me seeing and evaluating what one level of your intimacy is, and then making sure that I fulfill that.
4
level.
hugs a day for survival, 8 for maintenance, and 12 for growth.
Well, ain't nobody get. Everybody should be dead. Come on, that's some nonsense. That's some nonsense. Everybody should be. You
Four
telling
hugs
me
a day?
if you don't get 4 hugs a day, you're gonna die? Oh, y'all dead.
No, survival. You'd be surprised. I mean, it doesn't say that you have to get them from your spouse.
Well, who are you getting them from?
It could be a friend. It could be a whatever. I mean, girls hug all the time.
Danger, Will Robinson.
No,
Danger.
no one's saying intimate. I mean, no one's saying go hug men. But I mean, girls hug all the time. Like, hey, girl, how you doing? Shh.
Well, I mean, brothers do the shoulder lean.
Okay, well, that's the same thing.
So, all right, well,
You don't shoulder lean with nobody in the whole course of a day.
probably not. No,
That's why.
I mean, no.
So that explains.
I mean,
that
because
explains a lot.
if I'm seeing you every day, I'm not gonna shoulder lean with you every day,
Okay.
right? If I haven't seen you, hey man, what's up? Hey man, good to see you, bro. Boom, shoulder lean. Okay, but if I'm seeing you every day, I ain't finna shoulder lean with you every day.
Okay.
So back to the point.
That was the point.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean,
It's a therapist. It is a therapist.
opinion.
I'm not saying that it's not.
Okay. Well, then as long as it's an opinion, then that means I can disagree with it. Because I know
You're gonna disagree no matter what.
well, I'm gonna disagree with the things I disagree with. But I know
My allergies are going.
ain't all y'all out there getting 4 hugs a day.
4 hugs a day.
I know that for a fact. That ain't happening.
Hugs.
That ain't happening. So, but anyway,
I like the hugs.
well, I know that's why I'm trying to work on myself to make sure that I give you a hug in the morning when we get ready to leave, and a hug
didn't hug
in
me
the
today.
evening. Well, because you was because I had a bee emergency.
That's
I had a
true.
bee emergency this morning, as in bees, as in a swarm, an emergency that I had to take care of. All right, but my intention was to give you a hug. So I'm gonna do that now. Look at that. See there. See there. See
Look,
All right.
y'all see how he pats me?
What?
Like he pats Bella. Anyway, the point is,
Oh, goodness.
you do need the hugs because the hugs do bring intimacy because they bring you connection. When your heart is connected to someone else's, that's when you hug. It is the closest connection that you can get without having sex with someone.
All right. So you have to learn that person's intimacy. What intimacy level?
Their
Let me say it
intimacy
like that.
quotient,
Yeah. Whatever.
kind of
whatever
like
that-
kind of like their emotional intelligence.
Yeah. So whatever that level is for them. And then my most important thing is you got to know it, but then you got to be willing to do it. That's where we fall short.
Yeah.
You know the person's what they need. You just want to do it. And most of the time you don't want to do it, or we don't want to do it because you feel like the trade-off is not equal. I don't get what I want, so I'm gonna give you what you want. You know this is true. This is good stuff. So therefore, we both leave empty
Mhm.
or not, our tanks not being full.
Which
because-
is the dangerous place because
Right.
then you try to go somewhere else to get it fulfilled.
Right, because nobody wants to commit to giving. I think it's too much that I trade this for that. And so we come into marriage, we come into relationships
Because
under
it
the
shouldn't be a
assumption,
barter system.
yeah, under the assumption, if I give you this, then I should get that in return. And when you have that mindset, if you don't get your piece of the bargain fulfilled, then over time you're like, well, I ain't finna do that. I don't get nothing back for it, so why I'm gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's very detrimental to marriages, and I think honestly that's probably hurting a lot of marriages out there.
And sometimes when you think about it, and I've had some people say this to me, and I was like, yikes. Sometimes marriages are more like business partnerships. And so people are looking at it, like, what are you bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the table? Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't be marrying nobody that's broke as a joke and all that.
Or at least
and bringing
not,
a whole lot of debt.
working on something.
Yeah. I mean, yes, there should be some pieces that are coming together, but I think you have to be careful if your marriage is based simply on a business transaction. Like you're a way for me to come up, or you're a way for me to, to do better, or you're a GI bill, or you're a mortgage payment, or any of those things. We have to really think about.
Right.
What are we doing?
Because if you're negotiating a deal, you're taking the intimacy out of it.
Right. And so we're not business partners. And I've had a lot of young couples that have said that, well, like on paper, we looked good. Okay. But what y'all look like when y'all get to the crib?
Right.
Because on paper, y'all look good.
Right.
But what happens when you have to live together, when you have to talk, when you have to work with these little people that you produce, because kids change the equation.
Right.
And so, yes, y'all may have looked good on paper. Y'all might have been, like when you did the X's and O's, the pros and cons, it looked really good. But when you put the emotions in there, when you put the personalities in there, when you put the backgrounds of both of y'all, because y'all both lived a life before you came together, when you smash those things together and say, hey, now go cohabitate in one space, and you don't get to leave and go to your apartment,
now it becomes challenging.
what you doing?
Right. So I guess I think we do need to do something on that whole intimacy piece. But at the end of the day, intimacy needs attention, and not only does it need attention, but your intimacy together. Let me say it like this: your marriage should stay personal. You still need to laugh together, touch, ask questions, respond in kindness, have moments being together in each other's presence. And I have to be careful on this because a lot of times I'm responding, but I'm still in business mode, so I'm responding quick and sharper than what I need to. And so sometimes I need to remember that I need to dial this back down. This is not the business world. This is not me doing a transaction. This is my wife. And I need to slow myself down, to take the time to make sure that what I'm saying is not sharp, it's not quick. It has the right tone quality. It has the right facial expression, because all those things matter, and those can add or take away to the level of intimacy in a relationship.
Yeah. And I think, when we start to think about that, how are we responding? Sometimes that, again, going back to that vulnerability, sometimes we the world will say that vulnerability is weakness, but really vulnerability is a way, it's a strength, because we're being able to say, I'm tired, I'm scared, I need you to help me with this. I need, this hurts me, or this is, I don't know what to do about this, or, how are we going to handle this? Or, just being able to be vulnerable sometimes is very difficult, especially, again, if you've been hurt in a situation, or, maybe this is your second marriage, or, maybe even third or fourth. And you haven't figured it out yet. You're still trying to figure out, like, how much should I say? How much can I say? If I've been hurt in a situation, if I've opened up and I've said some things and I've told some things, and then it wasn't responded to in the way that I thought it should be, then, I go internal. And so, and internally, and I think we've talked about this before, when you go internal, you can have a whole conversation with yourself, and there is nothing to say. Well, but there's nothing to go back and say, that might not, how do you reframe it? How do you reframe it if you're the only conversation? How do you look at it from a different perspective if you are asking the questions and giving the answers?
Right, correct. So Genesis 2:25 in the Bible says that they were both naked and felt no shame. So Adam and Eve were visibly seeing each other, and nobody was embarrassed about it. Isn't it amazing that everything in the animal kingdom walks around butt naked?
Literally.
All the time. 100% of their life. And there is no shame. It's only in humans, right? That actually
that your kibbles and bits must be covered.
And actually, I mean, back way long time ago, I'm talking, thousands of years ago, it probably wasn't like that then. It was just part of who you were, right? But now we have assigned things to people, right?
That's true.
But the Bible said that originally, hey, they were naked and not ashamed. And so that scripture is actually deeper than our bodies.
And they weren't shamed until sin came into
the space. And then that's when they discovered they were naked.
They were like, oh snap!
Isn't that amazing that they didn't even know they was
let
naked?
Let me get some leaves and cover
Yeah,
these up.
yeah. They didn't even know they was naked until sin stepped into it, right? So, but when the Bible says that scripture is much deeper than their physical bodies, all right? There was an openness, there was a trust, there was a vulnerability to both of them, and they were not embarrassed and they were not ashamed. They were open to one another, okay? So when the Bible says that they were naked and not ashamed, please, it just doesn't mean that the goods was hanging out, which they were, but there was a closeness in them, a level of intimacy.
Well, I mean, Eve came from Adam. So there was a level in which they were close because I came out of you.
Right. Don't forget that.
All right. So this week's love language. I mean, love work, not love language, love work. Know me again. What has been heavy on your heart lately? So what have y'all been having conversation? What have you been having an internal conversation about that you haven't shared with your spouse? So sit down and have a conversation. What's been on your heart lately? What do you need more of from me right now? What are some things that, maybe we need to do a little bit more? My husband talked about, like, hey, really evaluating, what am I saying? How am I saying it? Is there something that you need from me? Do you need more hugs? Do you need more time? Do you need more affirmation? What are the things that you need from me right now that would help us to move and grow? For me, I had to have a little conversation with the doctor, like, hey, this menopause piece is a whole can of worms. It does change who you are. It changes you mentally. It changes you physically. It changes you emotionally. It changes the things that you are able to do and how you're able to do it.
That's what Kashif said.
Yeah, and they're not good changes always. And so, so sometimes that's part of it, is that you need to go and get your body checked out and find out what you need to do. What are the things you need to be, ingesting, rubbing on, doing whatever in order to make sure that your body is the way it needs to be. Where have you felt unseen or unheard? Is there a place? Sorry, I told you my allergies are going nuts. Where's the places that you feel like you've been unseen or you've not been heard? What helps you feel closest to me? So what are the things that, help you as we're trying to figure this out? I feel close to you when this, and this. They need to be able to hear that. What version of you is emerging in this season? I would say for both of us, we are in the next seasons of our lives. I turned 55. He'll be 62 this year. And so one of the things that we see is that those 5-year marks kind of really do change who you are and the level of foolishness in which you do not tolerate anymore. And so it's just been interesting to see, that 50 to 55 is one thing, but that 55 to 60 is a whole nother thing. And that 60 to 65 I'm seeing is a whole nother thing too. And so how in this season that y'all are in, where are y'all at? I'm still, there's some things that I'm still doing, and he's like slowing the brakes down. And so we have to really negotiate. What does that look like? What does it look like for us to be doing, for us to be traveling? What does it look like for us to continue to work or not to work? And what does that work look like? And, can we do it on the beach? And still be, wherever we want to be in the world. And so all those things are things that you have to be talking about. If you're at that place where you've got kids, as kids are graduating and they're moving out of the house and they're moving to college, that's a huge transition. Especially as a mom, if I've been pouring my time into those kids and then whoop, they're gone. Now what do I do? How do I renegotiate that energy? Where do I channel that energy? Where do I channel? If my kids were filling my cup, now I got to figure out how we connect.
So no fixing, no defending, no interrupting, just listen and learn in this week's love language assignment. All right. Some marriages don't need more money. Some don't need any other vacations. Some don't need bigger houses. Some marriages need two people. We've been talking about this willing and desiring to know each other again. Because money don't fix all problems. Vacations don't fix all
Sometimes it
problems.
makes it worse.
Houses don't fix all problems. What fixes problems is two people being willing to put in the work to fix what's going wrong. All right. So, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, intimacy is never and never will be automatic. Distance grows with silence. Recognize and remember that. And when you see yourself becoming distant, make the internal shift to reconnect, no matter what that takes. Right.
Make sure that you're not neglecting that time. So,
right.
Figure out, how do we carve out, how do we make sacred that space for us to be together? You make sacred space for you to go and do me time. Come on, ladies. You make sacred space for you to go and get a massage or get your nails done or whatever. How do you make sacred time for y'all to come together? That's not necessarily at 11 o'clock at night. How do we make space when we can sit? Last night we were in the garden. We were planting some stuff. I didn't really feel good, but
I was planting some stuff. You did plant some things, so in the garden.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't
you
do
did plant
me.
a few things.
Do not do me.
You did plant a few things.
I did not feel good, but I was out there.
Yes, you were.
And I was planting some stuff.
You did plant some things.
I did. So the thing is how do you find those times? We have lots of things that are going on, but we have to be intentional about the time that we pull together, sit down, do some things that are helping both of us. As this begins to grow, as the garden begins to grow, first of all, you're going to see some of that. But second of all, as the garden begins to grow, there's some things that we're going to have to do. Right. And so sometimes we have decided, hey, early morning, before we get going, let's just get out. We're going to spend a day and we're going to do garden stuff, in the morning.
Normally it's Tuesdays. Normally it's Tuesday morning. All right. So make sure that you're knowing your spouse again. All right. Make sure that you connect again. And then this week you have your assignment. So let's make sure that we continue to fill our marriages with faith,
fun,
and forever love.
Yeah.
Doggy style. Practice making babies. Practice makes perfect.
Thank you for watching, and make sure that you join us on YouTube and our webpage, Marriage Encounters with Bill and Michelle at Weebly.com.